First, they came for the socialists, and I did not speak out because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionists, and I did not speak out because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out because I was not a Jew. Then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak for me. A'udhu billahi minash shaitani rajeem. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. For hundreds of years, millions have been killed unjustly and have been lost to war, politics, and ultimately capitalist agenda. Never has there been a point in history that a voice is raised as it is now for the Palestinian people. What evoked our sentiments to speak now? What has changed over the course of time pertaining to standing up against the injustices committed against the people of Palestine, and more prominently by the oppressor's agenda? No other event has been so widely documented and feverishly spoken about through social media in recent history. Is it that individuals have taken it upon themselves to create awareness and advocate for the truth? Or is it a time of content and a generation relying on social media versus conventional news? We are witnessing atrocities committed against thousands of innocent children, women, and civilians amidst the Palestinian people for a war which no longer seems linked to the original misconstrued narrative by the oppressors. It begs a question: why are we being made witnesses to such genocide, which has actually begun to desensitize us to such morbid and gruesome visuals and taken away much of our empathy? The reason behind this appears to be rooted to the notion that humanity for us has been to live heedlessly over the centuries, and a catalyst to this effect was needed to bring about this change. More importantly, a change within ourselves. If I lack empathy or understanding of suffering, I cannot give that to anyone unless I have inculcated that sense within myself. The same way, I must first tend to my own oxygen and humanize my emotions and sentiments, that I can then be able to feel for my brethren in Palestine. Without this consideration, my advocacy, my voice, and my support for such distressing times would appear hollow or meaningless. If we were to honestly reflect, our misunderstanding of Deen alone is very compartmentalized, restricting its presence to limited aspects of our lives, making it only suitable when it fulfills our needs or suits our purpose. Beyond charity, advocacy, or the virtual protests, how many of us, including myself, actually ventured on ground to explore, standing with the people, facilitating humanitarian aid, or assisting with relief efforts beyond the comfort of our lives and the safety of our own homes? Some with perhaps the least amount of wealth have shown the greatest act of generosity, courage, and dedication to the cause of Palestine, including non-Muslims, especially Jews who have adhered to the original teachings of the Torah and are against the creation of the state of separate homeland for themselves. Corporate entities, nation states, Muslim and non-Muslim alike, whose interests lie in the success of the oppressor's agenda, have made no efforts to stand for what is right and have turned a blind eye. This sickness stems from the crimes that we as human beings commit against our own selves when we allow the nafs to take over the seat of our soul. This plays havoc internally, diminishing the divine spark that exists in every single one of us. This leads to corruption and more vices, the likes of greed, envy, power struggles, thirst for carnage and destruction, as all other deep-rooted fears begin to serve the false gods that we have placed upon ourselves to be worshipped. Isn't it ironic that in Islam, only the true ubudiyah or slavery to Allah can set us free? We, the Muslims, have become the modern-day children of Bani Israel, which the Quran addresses as a chosen people who opted to go astray after they created their golden calf and deviated from the real worship of the one true God, Allah. So, how do we rectify our own nafs or correct ourselves? How do we lift the coverings and veils of heedlessness which we have placed upon ourselves? We have been blinded for so long, and we needed to be jolted. This was the need of the hour. The gruesomeness and the metaphoric faces of the shaitan who resides within our communities and also within us has opened our eyes to the fitna which has persisted with time. And now we finally understand that the purpose of our existence is not only for our individualistic needs, but for humanity at large. And if anyone saved a life, it would be as if he saved the life of the whole people. The Quran. Verily, Allah does not change a people's condition unless they change their inner selves. The Quran. Upon careful consideration of this direct message from Allah, we now have a roadmap to rectify our wrongs and tread a path of change for His sake by reflecting on the current situation in Palestine and understanding how this impacts us. If it were to happen to me, to you, or to you. Let us firstly reflect within ourselves. How often do we isolate ourselves and contemplate in our own cave Hira and ponder on the injustices and oppression within our own society? How often do we reflect on the demons which exist within us? Just as the pandemic put a staggering halt to the way the world operates, this event is, too, an opportunity for us to open the eyes of our Rooh. It gives us the opportunity to reflect on what we perceive ourselves to be in front of the world, as opposed to who we truly are within. This raises the fundamental question: do we really know who we are? It is the Hadith Mubarak of Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam that the one who knows himself knows his Lord. We can perhaps list down how we see ourselves and align those attributes with the believing men and women Allah Himself loves. This reflection can only be gained by daily experiences with the attributes of Allah and how we channel them through our interactions with His people. For example, if we truly believe that we are deserving of Allah's mercy, then we must show mercy to His creation, especially those who may not have been as kind or just to us. Only with such reflections can we actualize them through positive actions by doing every good deed laced with sincerity of intention, with ihsan. When we do an act of kindness, we gauge that act as a means of worship by seeing Allah before us. If we cannot see Him, we know He is always watching us. And only when these positive acts become consistent will it allow a change, first within ourselves, then around us, within our communities, then the world at large. As stated in the Quran, Allah swears by the passage of time, asking us to reflect that life is too short and we must not stop our actions even if we have not been able to reflect upon them. The same way, offering salah and giving alms, zakat, is almost always mentioned together and not independently. Salah prepares us for internal submission, whereas zakat is the actualization of the external worship. Ghaus Pak Raziyallahu Anhum defines the giving of zakat as وَيُتُونَ الزَّكَاةَ, and they give charity which cleanses their batin, inner being, from focus on anything other than Allah. Practically, we may not be able to help the people of Palestine except with our du'as and raising our voices. But what we can additionally do is to look to our own communities, societies, and nations at large and begin addressing the issue of oppression, brutality, and injustice which has prevailed mercilessly throughout our heedless lives. I'm about to start exploring on a serious level how funds can be raised to help Palestinians as cold winter approaches, as there is no home, scarce water, and hardly any food to eat. If you are watching this from Pakistan, please generously donate to Al-Khidmat. If you are residing outside Pakistan, please send your donations to Palestinian Children's Relief Fund. Let us not be oblivious to the suffering of the Palestinian people. Let us allow ourselves to die before dying by surrendering our nafs to our Rooh. Let us relive the incident of Karbala and stand against the Yazids and their cronies who continue to destroy the ideal fabric of society in which the true worship of Allah is obliterated or forgotten. And may we have the Iman of the people of Palestine, who fearlessly embrace their end as martyrs in the way of Allah. Aameen. To show solidarity and support for the Palestinian cause, stay tuned for my upcoming videos on the current Palestinian crisis. If you have liked this video, please do share it with your loved ones, friends, and colleagues. To get the latest updates, please like this video and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you, and God bless.